Hi everyone, it's Sarah here, and today's video is a little bit different from the ones that you may have seen before. It's not so much about styling, but still very much about coaching. And one of the things I offer to my clients is coaching sessions through Neuro-Linguistic programming. So what the hell is all of that? Basically, it's understanding how your mind works and what's working for you, what's working against you, and how you can use your mind more effectively so that you can live a happier, healthier life. In my role as a coach, I work with people to help them overcome limiting beliefs about themselves and work on their confidence, among many other things. I'd like you to think for a moment how you talk to yourself. And yes, we all talk to ourselves. It's not a sign of madness. So how do you talk to yourself? What do you say to yourself when you see yourself in the mirror? Or what do you say to yourself when you make a mistake? Are you treating yourself with compassion and kindness? Or are you saying things like, oh, you're so ugly and you're not worth it, you're stupid, all of these kind of things? If this sounds familiar, then stick around and watch the rest of the video, and I'll be giving you some guidance on how to limit those negative voices and arrive at a more positive state of mind. So if you're experiencing this negative self-talk, I'd like you to become aware, first of all, of when it happens and what exactly you're saying to yourself. So if it is something like, oh, you look in the mirror and you say, oh, you're so ugly, or whatever it might be, try adding the word but after your sentence. By adding in this little conjunction into the sentence, you are negating the first part of what you said. So imagine when somebody says something like, I think you're really great, but, and you're just like, you're waiting for that next part. That's the bit that you're going to be listening to. So think about that. You can use that to your advantage. So again, think about saying to yourself, oh, you're so ugly, but. What you say next has to be in contrast to what you've just said. So I'm so ugly, but you know what? My eyes are sparkling today. It's got to follow with something positive, and it negates the first part of the sentence. So this is just one little trick that you can incorporate, create a new habit, and just see where it takes you, and let me know how it goes for you. If you try it, tell me in the comments below if you found it useful. My next little tip for shutting down this negative self-talk is to interrupt this pattern that you have created. So the way we behave and how we think is a pattern. We've become used to speaking to ourselves in a certain way. And it's a matter of breaking this habit, breaking this pattern, and starting from scratch, building new habits and building new ways of talking to ourselves. So if you find yourself going off on a rant about whatever it is you say to yourself, do something that interrupts this pattern. So if you can imagine, say, a parent in a supermarket and their toddler is having an absolute meltdown, and they're on the floor and they're kicking and screaming, and then all of a sudden the parent gets down on the floor, starts kicking and screaming, and the child is like, huh? What's going on? This is not normal. This is different to what I've been used to. This is an example of interrupting a pattern. So this child has not experienced this from their parent before, and it cuts off that pattern immediately. And this is the same thing that you want to do with the negative self-talk that you are experiencing. As soon as you catch yourself talking to yourself in a negative way, do something out of the ordinary that breaks this habit. So I don't know what it might be. It obviously depends where you are, because I might say something like just scream out loud or make a funny noise or something. But if you are out in public, just be careful of where you do this. So do something that absolutely is out of the ordinary, and it cuts off that train of thought before it runs away and gathers speed and power. My last little tip about managing this negative self-talk about yourself is to put yourself at some point in the future. Now, this could be right at the end of your life when you're looking back on your life and thinking, am I happy with how I spent my life? Am I happy with how I treated myself? Am I happy with how I talked to myself? This can often be a wake-up call when you get to that point in your life and you think about how you've spent your time. I know from my own experience, I spent many years talking to myself in a really negative way, and that had a negative impact on me. And now that I'm kind of at the other side of that, I see that time as wasted time. That I spent it not being very compassionate, not being very kind to myself. And of course, there's nothing I can do to take back that time, but maybe you're at a stage now where you can say, well, is this how I want to spend my life? You might also consider your motivation for why it is that you would like to change this pattern of negative self-talk. It might be so that you want to live a happier, healthier life, and that is good enough reason for anybody. However, it might be so that you are a good role model for your children, because they're going to pick up on things like this. If you talk to yourself in a negative way, you might not want that to impact on your children. So perhaps they might be your motivation for making a change. But you've got to figure out why it is that you no longer want to speak to yourself in this way. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you found it useful. It was a little bit different to the ordinary videos, but it is something that I'm incredibly passionate about, as much as I am about style. And I think it's a really important thing to address, that, you know, you can put on a nice dress and it can make you feel good, but that's the icing on the cake. You've got to do the inner work as well. And that's why I love doing what I do, because it is truly transformational. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.